One of the most powerful forces that creates your subconscious belief systems is the influence of your parent or the people who are parent figures in your life. So, if you are raised, this can be positive, this can be negative, this can be a mixed bag, but an example of a negative example would be, if a child is raised by a parent who puts them down as they're growing up all the time, right? You're just like your Uncle Rick, he's a loser, or you're a little liar, or whatever it may be that you're told over and over and over again as a child. We can look at that as adults and say, that's going to harm the child. That's bad for that child. And why it's so bad for the child is a child is their subconscious mind, it's like their imagination, their warehouse of memories, their emotions are always right at the surface. And so they are sponges, and they're taking in, not only are they taking in beliefs, but they're really looking at certain figures of their life as being all-knowing. So when your parent figure tells you that you are worthless, you believe them, because they are the most influential person in your life. Right? They teach you your ABCs. They feed you. You're completely dependent on them. Your brain is still developing, so it's very hard for you to ration and reason your way around what they're saying. You don't have any context for that. So when you have a parent who puts you down, in most cases, that child is going to grow up believing those things to be true, and because they believe those things to be true, that's how they're likely to live a life in alignment with those beliefs. You believe you're a terrible person, that you're a loser, that you're, a liar. You're most likely to become those things because you believe them to be true. And so that's why it is so important as an adult to take a moment and look back at what are the things that my parent or parent figure instilled in me. These can be very positive things, these can be negative things, and a mix. But really take a little audit and start to think about, what was I told about myself growing up? How has that affected me? Was I always told you're so smart, you're so hardworking, you can achieve anything? If you tell a child that consistently, they are much more likely to grow up, believe those things to be true, and therefore live a life in alignment with that. Right? To make those beliefs true. And whereas we also all understand that the opposite is true. It is much harder to live a life of achievement and personal growth when you are told every day that you're a terrible person, that you're, a burden, or whatever it may be, right? That makes it very hard. Some people do overcome those things and achieve positive life for themselves, but it is very, very hard. And so really and start to think about, like, even when it comes to your sexuality, to bring it to that. So what are the things that were instilled into you, and do you still agree with them logically and consciously as an adult now? If you were raised in a religious group that had a lot of shame talk or secrecy around sex, that can stick with you. Even as an adult, if you don't believe those things to be true, you may still have it emotionally, right? So that's why you may struggle to be comfortable with your body, or you always have a feeling where you're not comfortable talking about sex or asking for what you want. If you were raised with a lot of sexual shame, for example, and then you're like, well, I don't think sex is dirty and shameful. I think that, but I feel it, and that's where you end up with this, with these, this feeling that you're not working right, or you're a failure, or that you're messed up about it. And the truth is, this is exactly how your subconscious works. And so understanding that is really the first step in changing it, is really understanding that you're working exactly how you're supposed to work, that those lessons instilled to you, for example, by your parents, are so powerful. And sometimes we just have to do an audit as an adult and go, all those things that I kind of feel because I was told and I was raised with, do I agree with that still? Do I want to live my life that way? And start to pay attention. And then if you are a parent, it's so important to start thinking about really paying attention to what you say to your kids and what you say about your kids to your kids, right? Saying to someone, you're lying, you're doing a lot of lying, is very different than you're a liar. You are a liar is really much more harmful when we talk about subconscious belief systems than you're lying, you're making choices to lie. One tells you who you are as a person, and the other is a behavior. So really pay attention. Are you speaking to your child's subconscious, and what are you saying to it?